Breakfast Show in collaboration with the SABC. We're live from Uncle Tom's Community Hall here in Orlando East in Soweto. Well, I'm just going to make an appeal. I do know that young people in South Africa are faced with so many challenges that some of them were even brought up here by some of the members of the community. But today we're mainly focusing on the memories. If you can just share with us your memories of the day, what you remember, what you think South Africa has come so far in terms of what happened back then in 40 years ago. That's what we're focusing on. We have the people here on the panel who were there on the day. They have shared with us their memories, what they remember, what happened on the day. So at home, you can also do that. This hashtag TNA BizBrief, and I would also make an appeal to the people seated here that, let's talk more about memories. It's 40 years later, Antoinette. We really need to reflect back on what happened. Teach the young people the history of South Africa, like Pieterson was also saying that she's happy that now history is being taught, real history, South African history is being taught at school. What do you think Hector would be feeling currently if he was still with us? Just by looking at how things are here in South Africa, especially amongst young people.
Hector was a sportsman. He would like mainly to run, and then he also loved karate. So I think it would be in the Olympic or whatever, but he would be somewhere.
Oh, he would have been the Minister of Sport.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the floor. Fikile Billy.
Should I stand up?
Please do.
Thank you very much. I want to talk to the youth of this country. This government has given you a platform to become whatever you want to be. This government cannot give you funding. You need to be dreamers. You need to be ambitious. Don't blame government. You see the struggle veterans who are sitting here, they've paved the way for us. If you want to know how to be a businessman or entrepreneur, go and ask Mapunya. He never got funding. During the apartheid, it was very difficult. Go to Sakumzi here. Sakumzi took his parents' house after they passed away and converted it into a restaurant. Look where he is today. You don't need funding. You need to be a visionarist. To the panel, Tate Molefe, you are a struggle veteran. We respect you in this country. We want you to convince the likes of those Sakuma Kozoma and Nkutlus who are sitting in the board of the banks of the capitalists of this country to step down and form the Black Bank, which is going to fund the same young people. We are sick and tired. 40 years after June 16, we as black people, we don't have a bank. We need our own bank. Because currently, our government has done its best, but it's given a bad image by the capitalists because they own the media and they own the private sector. They are very quick to discredit our government, like ESCOM, our parastatals, but they don't produce anything. So, to Mr. Lisufi, as my neighbor, and we are in the same branch, we don't want a school that you are going to build without a swimming pool and sports facility. Why? We want the next Olympics. The children of Gauteng must participate. And you can only participate in the Olympics when there is facilities at school. Because if you want another Casper Semenya, she or he must start at the primary school. Please make it a point that the next school got facilities. We don't want to move the children of Soweto or the township to suburbs. We want Model Cs in the township. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. You know what, Figile? I think you can pass the microphone to MEC Lisufi to respond on that. Mandate to go, MEC Utwili.
I take the challenge. We've done that already. There is a school here in Soweto, Emden. We've opened it. We call it Keti Sinkondo School of Specialization. It's the first school in the township to have an engine of a 747 aeroplane worth 220 million. It's not in the suburb. It's in the township. You go to that school, you've got all the engine of every device that you need, for example. Learners in that school, they are not taught by a teacher that has a certain diploma and other thing. I don't want to undermine those degrees. Learners in those schools are taught by teachers the lowest qualifications and honors degree. All those teachers have master's degree because we value education in the township. Learners in that school, they don't know what's a chalkboard, they don't know what's a chalk, they don't know what's a duster. Those things belongs in the museum. They are using the state-of-the-art devices because they have to compete with the best in the world. That's what education is all about. So I agree, we need to have those sporting facilities, but to have those sporting facilities, those that have them must share them because those facilities belong to all our children. They don't belong to them alone. Yes, we need to bring them in the township, but if you check Alexander High and Senton High, they are separated by a bridge. So those children in Alexander High must have the same rights to utilize the swimming pool size that is in Senton High because these facilities belong to all our children. And that is why I'm saying where we are, good people, we've made progress. June 16, there was corporal punishment. Do you have corporal punishment now? No. June 16, learners have to buy textbooks. Do you have textbooks now? Yeah, where learners have to buy textbooks. We deliver them freely. June 16, learners didn't have the facilities that you have now. They have facilities that you have. Yes, more need to happen. Yes, we need to bring these facilities closer to our children. But I can assure you, there is no single government that is committed to equal and quality education than this government. Our children are in safe hands than never before. Okay. We give them scholar transport, we provide them school nutrition, we ensure that by the time they sit in the classroom, the only thing that must be in their mind is education, education, education. Our children now, the one that we have in our school premises, and I can assure you the panelists here, the children that are under our leadership in this province, none of them will ever queue for an RDP house. They will buy their own houses. That's the future. That's we want them. We don't want this. We don't want to solve social problems like nyaupe, teenage pregnancy and other things. The best way to solve those problems is through education, not through social grants. These children must go to school. That's the only hope that they have. That's what can build this country. Okay. Thank you so much.
No, thank you very much. MEC, although back then in 1976 they were using paper, now they're using tablets.
That's it, and that's where the future is.
Well, thank you very much. Well, Mema Khauta, Molefe, I'm going to come to you. You were supposed to be seated here up with us as part of the panel. Let's look at the Hector Pieterson Memorial. Do you think that's the only memorial site that, or do you think it tells the history of happened back in 1976 sufficiently so?
Well, the memorial is there. It doesn't tell enough history, and it is not well published. You ask some people who stay in Soweto here, they have never been there. So we don't say a lot about what happened then. That is a big problem.
But why is it so? Is it a matter of ignorance from our part?
Also, I think they should also be part of the history. What is the history at school? What is the history subject saying? Because it is also one-sided. It just mentions certain parties and it doesn't mention other parties. That is why people are talking about the division also with the youth, because the youth are divided on, the division of the youth is a reflection of the division in the society, because we are pushing party politics instead of united social issues. So there is a problem with it.
Okay, but how do you think it should be enhanced?
Well, people have said that the youth, in fact, us, the class of 76, are to blame for what is happening now. Because we are expecting miracles from the youth. We are expecting the youth to create things, to create jobs for them, and yet we have had census that show that there's a growing unemployment within the youth. A lot of people are qualifying, they are going to school, but they are getting unemployed, they don't have skills. We are expecting them to be entrepreneurs without skills, without even creating the environment for them to be entrepreneurs. And a lot of us who made it, who went into gravy trains, who had the BEEs, we ate alone. We didn't include the youth. And we turn around 20 years later, and the situation is like this. And how are we going to correct it? Because it is worse now. We've seen the census that the unemployment rate among the youth is growing. And now the economic situation is the way it is now. And we are not going to make progress.
But
It's
do you
going
think
to
the
be
situation
difficult.
can be rectified? Is there still time to rectify it?
If the government prioritizes that, the government has to prioritize education, has to prioritize economic development, and communication has to improve between the generations.
All right, thank you very much. That's where we're going to leave it. Ntate Mazibuko. Ke a bona Ntate Mazibuko o ntshwaeditse. We quickly need an ad break so that I can just have a sip of water. We'll be back stationed.